Hi, everybody. I'm Whit Johnson. Here are the top 5 things you need to know today. Number 1, Russia intensifying attacks on Ukraine. This as First Lady Dr. Jill Biden visits the Slovakia-Ukraine border, meeting with teachers, moms, and children who fled the war in their home country. Dr. Biden's visit coming as Russia presses its attacks in eastern and southern Ukraine. Ukraine saying Russian strikes hammered a drywall factory in a residential neighborhood, killing several people. Ukrainian forces, meanwhile, staging a counteroffensive around the country's second largest city of Kharkiv. Number 2, authorities in Alabama releasing new video in the urgent search for a corrections officer and an escaped murder suspect. The surveillance images show Vicky White checking out of a Quality Inn in Florence, Alabama on the morning of Casey White's escape. The search now reaching across several states with a $25,000 reward for information leading to their capture. Number 3, multiple wildfires burning in Palm Beach and Broward counties in the Florida Everglades. The fires ravishing more than 26,000 acres so far. The Florida Forest Service is reporting the cause of all 3 fires is lightning. No structures have been damaged. 4, against all odds, it was a nail-biting finish at this year's Kentucky Derby. The race favorites leading the pack in the final stretch when long shot Rich Strike with 80-to-1 odds to win cut to the inside and started weaving his way down the stretch, making it first to the finish. Rich Strike's victory was the greatest odds upset since 1913. And 5, Beyonce is a mother in her own right, but it's what she did for her mom that's earned Queen Bee her first Daytime Emmy nomination. Beyonce getting the nomination in the Outstanding Original Song category for writing the theme song to the Talks with Mama Tina theme song. That's the name of Tina Knowles Lawson's Facebook Watch series. Check out the ABC News app for trending stories, and with your 5 things to know, I'm Whit Johnson. Have a great day.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, to Janae as well.
To both of you, yes, exactly.
And speaking of mothers, Dr. Jill Biden on the Ukraine-Slovakia border right now to tour the border crossings, support facilities, and to meet with volunteers and first responders.
Dr. Biden's visit coming as Russia increases its attacks. The latest one devastating. These images posted by government officials show dozens of people who were feared dead when a bomb destroyed a school, sheltering nearly 100 people in a basement.
And Ukrainian forces, meanwhile, staging their own attacks. Drone footage here capturing this assault on Russian-held Snake Island in a bid to stop Russia's efforts to control the Black Sea. ABC's Marcus Moore joining us live from just outside of Kyiv. Marcus, good morning once again.
Whit, good morning. We are at what is left of a restaurant here in Irpin, the suburb of Kyiv. And when you drive around this city, it's almost as if every single building, whether it's a business or a home, has sustained some bit of damage. While in the east, the full impacts of this war are still being revealed. This morning, dozens feared dead after Russia bombed a school in eastern Ukraine where about 90 people were taking shelter. Ukrainian officials now saying some 60 people may have died in the blast. Overnight, the government posting these images showing the devastating aftermath. In Odessa, Russian missiles hitting an airport runway and a business, sparking a fire in the nearby residential area. Firefighters working to extinguish the flames. Russia trying to make a strong show of force hours before its Victory Day holiday, marking the defeat of Nazi Germany during World War II. CIA Director William Burns saying that Putin is feeling pressure to double down.
I think he's in a frame of mind in which he doesn't believe he can afford to lose. So the stakes are quite high in this phase.
But Ukraine is stepping up its offensive, pummeling a Russian landing craft and several buildings on Russian-held Snake Island. While in Mariupol, glimmers of hope, Ukraine says all of the civilians, mostly women and children who'd been taking shelter at a besieged steel plant, have evacuated and are safe. Ukrainian President Zelensky saying 300 people were saved. And now the focus turns to the wounded, medics, and their military. First Lady Jill Biden in the region this morning, standing in neutral territory between Slovakia and Ukraine, meeting with mothers and their children at a refugee center. In Ukraine, residents across the devastated east find craters, leaving their streets nearly impassable, now trying to sweep up what's left of their communities and war-ravaged homes. In Irpin, outside Kyiv, residents at this apartment are among the lucky ones. Their homes are damaged, but still standing, many yearning to rebuild their lives.
You know, the home, the most important thing.
Absolutely. I've heard the phrase that home is, where the heart is.
Yeah, it is.
And Yevgeny says that many people are reluctant to return home until after May 9th. They're simply unsure of what Russia will do next, and they are just watching and waiting. And Eva, I can tell you that today we have heard the air raid sirens far more frequently. It gives you a sense, it's evidence of how many attacks are happening.
Just that uncertainty that lingers. Marcus, thank you. Well, now to Washington, where President Biden will meet online with G7 leaders today. ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House with more. Good morning to you, Karen.
Good morning, Eva. The timing of President Biden's virtual meeting with key U.S. allies and Ukrainian President Zelensky today is significant, and it is deliberate. This comes right before Russia's Victory Day, and it's meant to show a very strong show of support and unity for Ukraine. The White House press secretary Jen Psaki on Friday was blunt, saying by now Vladimir Putin was expecting to march through the streets of Kyiv. She says that is not going to happen. On the agenda, the global impact of Russia's war, ongoing military and economic aid for Ukraine, and new costs on Russia. And this meeting comes just 2 days after the president announced the U.S. is providing another $150 million in new security assistance for Ukraine. That's going to include artillery munitions, radars, and electronic jamming equipment. Since the start of the war in late February, the Biden administration has committed $3.8 billion in assistance for Ukraine. But the president said on Friday that with this latest round of assistance, that fund that the administration has been able to tap into is close to running out, and he wants more money. He is asking Congress for $33 billion to give to Ukraine. That includes $20 billion for military assistance, $8.5 billion for economic assistance for the Ukrainian government, and $3 billion in humanitarian aid. Now, today, President Biden and the G7 leaders are also going to announce new sanctions on Russia, part of the ongoing effort to impose severe costs for the war in Ukraine. Janae?
All right, Karen Travers, thank you so much for that update. Now to the battle over abortion rights on this Mother's Day. Catholic churches in the U.S. on heightened security alert due to calls for protests by abortion rights supporters. ABC's Faith Abube joins us now from Washington. Faith, good morning to you. And all of this comes after that Supreme Court leak just days ago.
Yes, good morning to you, Janae. And that leaked Supreme Court draft opinion has set off a firestorm among abortion rights advocates who are now concerned that the constitutional right to an abortion could be overturned. And so today, some of those activists are planning to take their fight directly in front or inside Catholic churches like this one. But take a look at this video overnight. Protesters gathered outside the homes of Justices Brett Kavanaugh and John Roberts chanting pro-abortion messages. Law enforcement agents across the country say they are aware and they're concerned about the calls for demonstrations from multiple groups. One of the groups explaining on Twitter that they're calling for the Mother's Day abortion rights strike in and outside Catholic churches because, quote, 6 extremist Catholics set out to overturn Roe. Now, we've already seen some of the protests from other groups in the form of vandalism. A day after that bombshell Supreme Court draft opinion leaked, demonstrators defaced the walls, the doors, and statues at Sacred Heart of Mary Church in Boulder, Colorado. The sheriff's office says they left graffiti with what he described as anti-church, pro-choice messaging and broke some glass there at that church. In New York, police officers have been ordered to be on heightened awareness around Catholic churches. Some of the churches say they are working with police to protect themselves against any violence this weekend. But this morning, the Virginia Attorney General is sending a clear warning to these protesters, reminding them that they could face legal consequences for obstructing, intimidating, or even interfering with religious worship. Now, public opinion polling shows that there is a disconnect between what people think Catholics believe and what many actually believe. A 2019 Pew survey reveals that even though Catholic teachings ban abortion or actually oppose abortion, more than half of U.S. Catholics, 56% of them, said abortion should be legal in all or most cases. Now, in the meantime, amid these protests, we're hearing from Justice Clarence Thomas for the first time, according to the Washington Post. He told a group of lawyers and judges at a judicial conference conference that institutions cannot be bullied to give people the outcomes that they want.
Those comments getting a lot of attention. All right, Faith Abube, thank you. Let's bring in ABC's Martha Raddatz, who'll be hosting This Week later on this morning. Martha, good morning. Always great to speak with you. So let's start there with that leaked draft opinion from the Supreme Court on Roe v. Wade. You have some big interviews on the show today, including Senator Amy Klobuchar and Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. How are lawmakers and states preparing for what's expected to be a historic ruling?
In Arkansas, a ban will take place immediately if Roe is officially overturned. Arkansas is a trigger law state, one of 13, with no exceptions except for the life of the mother. No real plans in place for what happens if a woman needs an abortion there, and abortion providers in Arkansas could face 10 years in prison. And as for abortion rights supporters, they will redouble efforts to get state laws passed that help women who want an abortion, and they will also concentrate on elections, on midterms and beyond to get money and support to abortion rights supporters.
All sides bracing for what's to come. I do want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We noted earlier the heightened concerns ahead of Russia's Victory Day celebrations. How worried are officials about what could happen in the next 48 hours?
I think they just don't know what Putin will do. He certainly wants to declare some kind of victory, but that will be pretty hard to do given what's going on in Ukraine. Or will he declare full-scale war or make claims on some part of Ukraine he does not currently occupy? Remember, Russians don't know the full extent of what is going on in Ukraine, and we don't know what exactly Putin will do tomorrow or say to try to convince his people this fight is worth it. Whit.
All right, Martha, thank you. Before I let you go, do want to wish you a very happy Mother's Day to you as well.
Thank you.
One of the many super moms here we're blessed to work with at ABC News. Thank you. And be sure to tune in to This Week later on this morning. Again, Martha has those exclusive interviews with Senator Amy Klobuchar and Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson about the future of abortion rights in the U.S. Plus, White House COVID response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha discusses the grim forecast for 100 million new COVID cases later this year. Eva.
Authorities in Alabama releasing new video in the urgent search for a corrections officer and an escaped murder suspect. The surveillance images show Vicky White checking out of a Quality Inn in Florence, Alabama on the morning of Casey White's escape. The search now reaching across several states with a $25,000 reward for information leading to their capture.
Well, now to the rise in COVID cases. More than 40 states seeing significant increases. ABC's Phil Lipoff is following the latest as some local officials now considering bringing back mask rules. Phil, good morning to you.
Janae, good morning to you. COVID infections are climbing more than 22% last week, triggering concern all across the country. 42 states and territories have seen an increase in infections of 10% or more over the last 7 days alone. The CDC says Chicago is now in the medium risk category this Mother's Day, warning of a potential surge. And though there is no mask mandate, still urging people to mask up and avoid large gatherings altogether. New York City has moved to medium health level as well, and the mayor here says he is not ruling out a new mask mandate. All of this while dozens of states have closed public testing sites, and most testing positive at home are simply not reporting those results to health officials. So the number of infected right now is likely much higher. The Biden administration warning as many as 100 million Americans could be infected this fall and winter on top of it all if Congress doesn't approve additional COVID funding. Whit.
All right, Phil, thank you. And overseas, those COVID lockdowns in China are again threatening the global supply chain. Hundreds of ships at anchor off the port of Shanghai. The situation has some companies warning of new price hikes. ABC's Britt Clennett has more from Hong Kong.
This morning, the global fallout of locking down China's economic powerhouse growing by the day. Severe zero COVID measures in Shanghai, the world's largest shipping centre, stemming the flow of goods out of China. European Space Agency satellite images capturing the congestion of cargo ships backed up around the Shanghai coast. Some 344 ships snarled in the port of Shanghai, a 34% increase from last month, according to a Royal Bank of Canada report. The report also finding it could take 74 days longer for goods from China to reach the States. Economist Aidan Yao says American consumers will feel the impact.
If products are not getting around to producers, to ports, then it doesn't matter that time it takes for products to go from China to the U.S. remains the same.
American manufacturers already feeling the pinch. Los Angeles-based Bobby Javahari makes appliances for US households out of China. Javahari is scrambling to produce enough of his pressure cookers, which have been touted by Oprah, to meet demand.
If we're able to get them on a boat, we do it, whatever it costs.
Major US firms like Apple also expecting to take a hit of up to $8 billion.
While there are COVID cases in other cities, the bulk of the cases are in Shanghai and Beijing. COVID restrictions across the country, however, adding pressure to global supply chains even further. Eva?
Britt Clement for us there, thank you. And now to the desperate wildfire situation in the Southwest. Close to 20 million Americans under red flag warnings this weekend. Let's get the latest from ABC's Zareen Shaw in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Overnight, unprecedented winds whipping through the monster fire in northeastern New Mexico. The Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire, the second largest in the state's history, with officials bracing for acreage to continue exploding. About 80% of New Mexico is facing extreme drought, dry terrain combined with extreme heat and nearly 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, potentially fueling flames through the weekend.
Once an ember hits any of these what we call receptive fuel beds, gets into this tall grass, it's going to spread and it's going to keep burning.
1,400 firefighters now battling two raging blazes that have scorched over 265 square miles over the last month. Only about a fifth of it contained. And already up to 170 homes destroyed.
I just kind of went around and said goodbye, you know, that this could be the last time I sit at my grandmother's table.
I grabbed my rosary, jumped in the truck and left.
The flames inching dangerously close to the Los Alamos National Lab. And there is no sign of relief in sight.
There are still people in the evacuation areas that are refusing to leave. You can't outrun this fire. If it gets up and going, you are in the path of danger. This is a time to leave.
And red flag warnings are in effect from Texas to California. Nearly 20 million Americans potentially impacted. Janae?
Our thanks to Zareen.
thought he was God.
He's now one of the most vilified men in the world. He is the everyman. Zelensky is the Tom Hanks of Ukraine.
Which Vladimir will take over.
A life spared and prayers answered for now.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported me and given me love.
It's exciting, it's overwhelming.
Melissa Lucio's family celebrates a decision from an appeals court to issue a stay of execution following a growing movement to get her off death row. But this 15-year-long battle isn't over yet.
And if you want to see this whole maddening system in one story, consider the case of Melissa Lucio.
Melissa Lucio insists she was wrongfully convicted of killing her 2-year-old daughter, Mariah, after a tragic accident 15 years ago.
Free Melissa Lucio! I don't want my mom to be executed. I don't want to lose it.
In Texas, 197 people sit on death row, and just 6 are women. The only one that had, until just now, an execution date was 53-year-old Melissa Lucio, convicted of killing her 2-year-old daughter, Mariah. The appeals court halted her execution 2 days before it was scheduled in order to consider new evidence, her conviction leaning heavily on a lengthy interrogation.
You know something is wrong.
No, sir, I don't.
You know something is wrong.
No, sir, I don't.
If I bring you all those pictures, if I beat you half to death, like that little child was beat, I bet you die too.
In February 2007, paramedics arrived at Lucio's home to find Mariah unresponsive. She told police the toddler fell asleep and never woke up, admitting she fell down a steep staircase 2 days prior, but didn't seem seriously hurt. Investigators with the Harlingen Police Department and Texas Rangers confronted Melissa about bruising on her daughter's body, taking turns interrogating her about the death.
This is your chance to set it straight, because right now it looks like capital murder. Right now it looks like you're a cold-blooded killer. Now, are you a cold-blooded killer?
No, I'm not.
Or were you a frustrated mother who just took it out on her?
We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all get upset. We already know what happened. We already know what happened.
In the 2020 Hulu documentary, The State of Texas versus Melissa, Lucio relives those first few hours after losing her daughter.
They wanted me to admit to something that I was not capable of doing to my child.
Lucio denied killing Mariah more than 100 times during the interrogation, lasting into the early morning hours, but eventually confessed.
So they didn't give her a choice to tell the truth and to tell what she knew happened. She has learned over the course of her life that if she wants an abuser to stop doing what they're doing, she gives them what they want. And that's ultimately what she did here.
At the time of Mariah's death, Lucio had 12 children in her home and was pregnant with twins. Her oldest son, John, says his mom was strict, but never abusive. Do you believe that your mom killed Mariah?
Not at all, man. My mother, I don't even think she'll kill a fly.
Lucio's team filed a clemency petition with the Texas Board of Pardons and Parole that laid out the reasons why her sentence should be commuted. It references the Cameron County District Attorney Armando Villalobos, who tried Lucio's case and used it in his re-election campaign to prove he was tough on crime.
I'm Armando Villalobos, Cameron County District Attorney, and this is my office.
Villalobos was later indicted and convicted of taking bribes while in office, now serving a 13-year sentence. The petition also notes Child Protective Services had investigated Lucio in the past and found evidence of neglect, but never abuse. It cites video from an interview with Lucio's other children, where one of them said they saw Mariah pushed down the stairs by another sibling.
And did you see her fall, or did somebody tell you that that's what had happened?
No, I saw.
None of her children were allowed to testify in court, and her legal team asserts crucial evidence was kept from the jury about Lucio's history as a sexual assault victim.
We got it wrong. We need to learn that the criminal justice system fails sometimes, and we certainly failed.
Johnny Galvan was on the jury that convicted Melissa Lucio in July 2008. He's now one of several jurors speaking out against her execution.
We made the wrong decision because they gave us the wrong information. there was evidence withheld that was not presented to the jury.
Did Melissa Lucio get a fair trial?
Not at all.
Lucio's case spent years going through appeals, eventually landing in the Fifth Circuit. More than half of the federal judges that heard her case agreed crucial evidence had been excluded from the original trial, but they couldn't overturn Lucio's conviction because of strict guidelines in the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act.
A federal judge just a couple of weeks ago issued a decision in Melissa's case saying that this case represents a systematic miscarriage of justice. He said it's a train of injustice.
Cameron County's current DA, Louis Sines, says he disagrees with claims that new evidence would exonerate her, but that he welcomes the added scrutiny.
We'll look at it.
Her case catching the attention of Texas lawmakers from both sides of the aisle. Reality star Kim Kardashian, famed Latina civil rights activist Dolores Huerta, and Amanda Knox, who was acquitted of the 2007 murder of her roommate in Italy.
So when you're in an interrogation, they offer instead a sort of soft, like, oh, maybe you made a mistake, maybe you're overwhelmed, I can understand where you're coming from, which gives you the impression that they actually they have your best interest at heart.
John is thankful so many people are pushing to help his mother. Just after the Court of Appeals decision to issue a stay on her April 27th execution, John told me, "We've been praying for a very long time and he's heard us," adding, "It's not over." Texas Governor Greg Abbott hasn't responded to our request for comment on if he'll commute Melissa's sentence.
I'll make a decision once it comes to me.
The uncertainty still weighing heavy on her son's heart. We spoke with John just before that stay of execution on what he thought could be one of his last visits with his mom.
And so today I kind of expressed myself to her and everything was let out. It had to be let out. I've been holding it in for too long.
What did you tell her? What were some of the things that you shared with her that were important for you to share with her?
I mean, I'm crying. My wife and I are crying, and I started telling her, and she's asking me, everything okay? And I started telling her, it really isn't. So I told her, I'm scared. And I've been scared every time I come short. I lied to her. I make it seem like I'm not scared, but I really am.
John and his wife, Michelle, gaining solace in her strength.
The strength that she has is very contagious, and I know it comes from the man above, and it just rubs off into us.
The execution halted for now. Melissa saying in a statement from her lawyers, "I thank God for my life. I've always trusted in him. I am grateful the court has given me the chance to live and prove my innocence."
Hello, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips here at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for streaming with us, and welcome to our ABC News Live special, Bearing Witness, Fighting the Rise of Anti-Semitism. Today, the world marks Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, 77 years after 6 million Jews died at the hands of the Nazis. Unfortunately, that hate hasn't stopped. Even on this day, where we are remembering and honoring those who died, Jews all across the world right now are facing a rise in hate and anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism that did not start with the Holocaust, nor end with the Holocaust either. The Jewish people have faced persecution for thousands of years, but they are resilient. Following Hitler's atrocities, people from around the world, of all backgrounds, all religions, and all skin colors, came together to say, never again. And that is why we are here in this moment at this Holocaust Museum, to remember those famous words from philosopher George Santayana, repeated by countless history teachers. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. May we all help bear witness to what happened and to look forward to a future where genocide will never happen again. We have a lot to share.